Alright guys, so I'm going to do a review from another comic that was sent to me by my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, thank you once again for this comic. And we're going to talk about Dark Ark. This is not just one volume, this is all of it. This is Dark Ark, the complete series. Listen to that. I do love a good hardcover. When it's... like, hardcovers in my collection are hard to hold, but, like, this actually came out very well. And I don't know why comic companies have trouble with hardcovers. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. This time, it actually works. So, Dark Ark, you may be thinking, how did you read all this in the matter of a few days? Well, I was just sitting alone one day, and I had nothing to do for a few hours, and I just read this book. I literally just read this book in a matter of hours. Like, usually I would, like, take breaks when reading a new comic. I'd just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, like, read a chapter, one or two issues as chapters a day, and then just move on with my life. Nope. I read this all in a matter of hours. In fact, when I was done, I had started reading this at, like, 6 in the morning. I was done by, I think, noon. Yeah, took me 6 hours to finish the entire book. Anyway, so what is Dark Ark about? Dark Ark, which is written by Cullen Bunn, I forgot to mention that, with artwork by Jean Doe. That's really his name. Jean Doe, not John Doe. I'll shut up. But yeah, Dark Ark is basically set during Noah's Ark. This is set during the Old Testament. Yeah, as you guys know, if you know the story, God's gonna flood the world of sin, and Noah's gonna be and Noah was tasked with protecting all every two of every animal to repopulate the world after 40 days of raining. Which, by the way, I gotta say, that makes no fucking sense. I've always, even as a kid, I was like, that makes no fucking sense. Like, that would be some also, did Noah just fuck all of his kids too? Did he just have his sons and daughters just incestually fuck each other? Also, like, that's the same thing with animals. Like, you need more than two, or the genetic the genetic code is just gonna get fucked. I don't get it. Like, that makes no sense. And some people say, like, oh, the word of Noah is true, and I'm like, sure. Anyway, that's enough of that. But anyway, point being is that while God had tasked Noah with creating the ark, Satan has tasked someone else to build an ark for for other creatures. You see, God tried to pull a fast one and destroy all the creatures of the supernatural variety in his flood. But Lucifer went, nah, bitch, not on my watch, and tasked a sorcerer whom he made a deal with, and like, alright, you will be free of our magic, of our deal, if you save all the creatures of the night. I'm talking like vampires, werewolves, manticores, unicorns, ghouls. Every mythical monster from every religion or mythology you could think of is put on this ark, and this sorcerer named Sharia and his family are tasked with making sure that these monsters are kept safe during the flood, so that they may prey on mankind in the future. And with that, as you imagine, a lot of the monsters aren't exactly hip with the idea of being stuck on a boat for 40 days. Not to mention, a lot of these guys eat people. Like, they legit eat people. Like, they eat people. And how they go about explaining that, I'm not going to spoil, but it's a little fucked up, of how it also shows the world when God decided to flood the planet. Also, Cullen Bunn really just does not like God at all. And it kind of makes sense. Like, he shows angels are above, like, think they're above mankind. Like, oh God, why are we here? Like, why are we helping this human? And I'm like, that tracks. And not to mention, he does a really good job of talking about other religions that came before God and Lucifer. Like, they make a point of showcasing an ancient being that. Not Cthulhu, I will say that. I was thinking... They do kind of trick you into thinking it's Cthulhu, but it's not. I will say it is from a known this creature is from a known mythology, And actually, how they used her is actually pretty brilliant, I gotta say. The story is broken up into 15 issues with three 5-part arcs, and I think it's 3 or 4, but yeah. And there's also a 5-part miniseries, and it's all collected here along with a free Comic Book Day one-shot. I will say, though, that this story doesn't feel complete. Like, I know it says the complete series, but it just does not feel complete in the slightest. It feels like there was more to this story. Like, it felt like it was supposed to be more to this comic. The 5-part After the Flood comic is supposed to, like, wrap up other things, but really it just feels like it leaves on a cliffhanger. It's like literally a TV show that you got all invested in, and then it got canceled. Like, it feels like that. Like, it feels like I got invested into a show, and I was like, oh, I feel like Woody in Toy Story 2. It was like, oh, come on, what happens next? Where's the next episode? Although I have heard Aftershock Comics and its owners are doing really shitty things to its creators, so that might explain why Cullen Bunn never got to finish Dark Arc. Because it really does feel unfinished. Like, it feels like it needed one more arc to complete the whole story, because it builds up somewhere that we want to see it go. As for the monsters, they don't get a lot of attention, except for 2. One, a manticore named Cruel, who does have a mate and a son on the way, but he also really wants to fuck human women. That's a whole thing. He actually, like, I kind of imagine he sounds like Grimlock from Transformers in my head. And then there's Nex. Nex is the leader of the vampires, and he's kind of like the sub-antagonist. All in all, if you want, like, a cool monster story set in biblical times and how it's kind of done, and see it play out like a drama, I could, if Amazon is looking for new shows to stream that aren't Marvel or DC shows, hey Bezos, I found your next project. Anyway, so there you go. I highly recommend Dark Arc, and once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this comic. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.